everyone, and welcome to the Scrapbook and Cards Today Partner Celebration. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you popping in from all around the world. Today, we're going to have some fun because I get to show you something from our brand new release. So if you're new to Gina K Designs, I am Gina, and I am the owner and one of the designers of the products, creative director, official bottle washer, bathroom cleaner. I do all that. And so today, Catherine and the team invited me to come on because we are an SCT partner and to share some fun products with you and some tips and tricks and techniques. I have a YouTube channel called Gina K Designs, and I do videos 2 to 3 times a week sharing lots of card making techniques. Now, I know some of you may be scrapbookers and you're just dipping your toe into card making, but I know a lot of my friends that are card makers are also here as well. So it's great to see old friends and certainly great to meet new ones too. So we just had a release last night, and I release a kit every single month, either a kit or a bundle of products, and I usually do most of my videos featuring those products. Today I thought I would sway a little bit and use one of the other products from our new release, which I think you're going to like, and it's just a great product to show you lots of different tips and tricks. I also wanted to let you know that as part of the SCT Partner Celebration, Gina K Designs is giving away a gift certificate. So it's actually a gift card, and you can enter to win this gift card by heading over to the SCT blog, and all the instructions on how to enter to win would be over there. So a $100 gift card from Gina K Designs is up for grabs today on the SCT blog. So make sure you head over there, check out all the card samples that we've shared, check out our new kit and more information about our new release, and enter to win. Maybe you can do a little shopping too. All right, so I want to show you the product that we're going to be using today. It's a little bit different than the kit, but you'll get to see lots of kit things on the blog. But today we're going to be using this. And this is a brand new stamp set that we just released by one of our illustrators named Melanie Menschinger. And she designed this stamp set, and it also has a coordinating die set. It's called Sunny Days 2. It coordinates with her original Sunny Days stamp set, which is another fun one. And if you take a look on our website at ginakdesigns.com, and click on stamps, and then you'll be able to find Melanie's category. You can see all of the different stamp sets that she offers and the way they mix and match together. Many of our illustrators do that. So they have a stamp set, and then they'll release another one that builds on the last one. So although you can use it all by itself, you can also mix and match products, which really stretches the possibilities. Okay, so I am going to show you today a couple techniques using this stamp set and this die set. Now, one thing I did want to show you about Gina K Designs dies is that when you buy our dies, there is a layout on the front of how to lay them out on the magnet. Our die sets are super big, and all of our ones that coordinate with stamp sets have a magnet, and it's a nice thick magnet. I don't know if you can see how thick that is, but that's a pretty thick magnet. This does not flex at all, and you can store this with your stamp set in a stamp pocket or however you like to store your products. And this layout is the same on here. So the way it comes is you get the magnet, you get a little bag of stamps, and then you open the bag of stamps and lay it out on your magnet. I'm going to be using this die today that coordinates with this stamp right here. So what we're going to learn is we're going to learn how to do some easy 2-step stamping. I'm going to teach you how you can emboss in any color at all, which I think is really fun because Gina K Designs, we have over 60 colors of dye ink, and I would love to have an embossing powder in every one of those colors, but that's a lot of embossing powder. So I'm going to show you how you can turn that dye ink into any embossing powder color you want with a simple trick. And then I'm going to show you how to create a background, and we're going to pop this thing up, this die up, and let's get to it. All right, so to start, we're going to create a little template here. So we're going to make it easy to stamp these. So I'm going to start by getting this stamp. I'm going to place it right here. And then I'm going to find the coordinating wheel, which is this smaller one here. Although you can stamp any wheel on here that you want, this is the one that I believe coordinates with the die. So you can see here, this stamp and this die fit that wheel. So I'm going to put the wheel down here. Okay. And then I'm going to stamp these, and you can stamp this in any color. Now, if you don't know what this is a MISTI stamping tool, and a lot of my card maker friends love using the MISTI. I know you're out there. This is a great way to position your stamps and be able to stamp an image more than once. You know, sometimes when you stamp an image, it doesn't always stamp perfectly the first time, and it's nice to be able to just go back a couple times and stamp over it. And it's also a great tool for lots of techniques. So I'm going to stamp both of these up just with a little bit of our Tranquil Teal ink. I think I'm going to do my scooter in red, though. So I'm going to just stamp this. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I am going to stamp it so that it's fairly solid anyway, so I can see where to place my die. Okay. All right, good enough. Better than horrible. That is the motto around here. Now I'm going to clean these, but I'm not going to move them. They're going to stay right here on the MISTI, exactly where they're stamped right here. Now, for now, I'm going to put this aside, and I'm going to get my die cutting machine, and I am going to cut out a scooter. Now, you can mass produce this way. In fact, on Thursday, I have a video coming up. Oh my gosh, that's tomorrow, isn't it, Tom? My husband, Tom. Say hello, Tom. Say hello to everybody. So this is my husband, Tom.
Hello, hello.
And Tom is behind the scenes doing all the crazy things back there. He and I have been working together for how many years now, Tom?
40, yes, 50? Definitely.
50, 60 definitely. Years?
At least.
For a very long time. And he does all of the behind the scenes stuff for our live videos, including he provides usually music in the background and also a word of the day, which I think we'll have one tomorrow on our channel, right?
Yes.
So tomorrow we have a premiere video that is going up, and that is going to be normally we go live, but Tom and I actually can't be live tomorrow. So we've scheduled it to be a premiere, and we're going to just be able to chat live in the comments, which will be very fun. Okay, so I cut 2 of these, and what I was going to say about that premiere is I'm going to be showing you how to do layered stamps with a template, and it's really easy and it's really pretty. Okay, so I cut 2 of these out, which I'm going to stamp on. But before I start stamping, I'm going to get another piece of cardstock here, and I'm going to cut 2 more of these. But I'm not going to use the cutout parts. I'm actually going to use what's left behind. I see a lot of people from Wisconsin popping in. How fun is that? Welcome, everybody. So I'm going to be keeping this part down here. And I'm going to do 1 more of those. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now, if you've never seen this before, you may have seen me do this before, but if you haven't seen this before, this is great for those of you who feel a little bit intimidated by 2-step stamps and also by die cutting, where you want your image to be right in the center of the die, and then you try to cut it out and it doesn't look centered, and that can be a little bit frustrating. So I'm going to get my paper cutter here, and I'm going to cut this in half. Right there. Actually, I'm going to cut the end off of this too. I don't need this much. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other half here. It's not really half, but you know what I mean. I'm cutting the mopeds in half. And then I'll do the same thing here. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to figure out how we can make this very centered. So I don't want this to move. I'm going to use a little bit of tape instead of that magnet because sometimes the magnet gets in the way. Now I'm going to place this template right over here to make sure that that looks pretty centered. It looks pretty good, right? And then I'm going to tape that down so that stays in place. Okay. Then I'm going to tape this wheel so that looks fairly centered for my first wheel. And then I'm just going to move the template over like this. Or I might flip it around like this to do the second wheel. But let's get this wheel in place. Make sure that looks good. That looks pretty good. I'm trying to look at the rest of it here to see. Sometimes it's easier to look straight down on it, and then I have to get my head in the way, and I need my roots done. It's a problem, you know. It is what it is. I'm going down kicking and screaming with my hair. Okay, we'll put that back. I feel like that looks a little better. And then once you do this and you get all these things in place, you can mass produce these. You can stamp as many of these as you want before you take this template apart. And sometimes it's fun to make a bunch of these elements. It's almost like do-it-yourself ephemera. And then when, you know, everything is done, you could just put them in a drawer and use them whenever you need them. Okay, so we're going to start with this first scooter, and I'm going to pop this into the template. And now I said I wanted to use red. So let me find a red. Here's red velvet. This is a beautiful color, red. So I'm going to start with the red. And I am going to make even the handlebars red. I'm just going to make this whole thing red. And I'm going to stamp that right onto that die cut piece. Looking good. I'm going to pop it back in, and I'm going to stamp it a second time because I really want it to be nice and solid. And I think I'll stamp it one more time. Just one more. It's looking good, though. Nothing's like a red scooter, right? So cute. Okay. So now I'm going to clean this stamp, and I'm going to leave it where it is. I'm going to leave that in there. Now here's my little trick. Because I don't have this exact color and embossing powder, but I want it to be embossed, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stamp it again, but this time I'm going to stamp it with an embossing and watermark ink, just a clear ink. And I'm going to have some clear embossing powder on standby. Okay. Let me get a little piece of something here to make a folder. I know I have one somewhere. Here it is. Okay. Then I've got this little folder to dump my embossing powder in. Okay, so I'm going to ink this scooter up with embossing and watermark ink. And then I'm going to stamp that. Making sure I get it all inky. Now, this is probably going to stick to the stamp. And that's okay. I'm going to stamp it one more time to make sure I have a nice thick coating of ink on there. See, I'm not alone. You guys are with me. We're all going down kicking and screaming. Okay. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put a clothespin on it. And then I am going to get my fine detail clear powder. You can use regular clear powder if you don't have fine detail. It doesn't really matter. And I've coated that now with clear embossing powder. Now, I do want to make sure that there's no embossing powder anywhere on these wheels. And I did not use my embossing magic pad, but that's okay. An embossing magic pad just removes static and things from your cardstock, but there really isn't that much to worry about here. Okay, I don't have any strays here, but I'm just taking a fine brush to just brush them off. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to emboss this with some heat. And now it's going to turn my red ink into a red embossed look. So I'm going to heat my tool up a little bit first, just to make sure that it's nice and hot. And the reason I do that first is because the longer you hold a heat tool onto your cardstock, the more likely it is to warp. So by doing this, the tool gets nice and hot and it embosses much more quickly. Okay, so here we go. Oh, this is so fun. Now I'm going to unwarp it a little bit by heating it on the back. I'll straighten it out a little bit. But now check that out. Now it looks like I've got red embossing powder. This is a great way to change any of your dye ink colors into colored embossing powder. And you know, what I find is sometimes even when you have those perfect matches in embossing powder, they're not. You know, the ink, you may have ink blended a little too lightly and then the red doesn't look like red anymore. But if you use your actual ink pad, you can do this with greetings and then just add a little coat of clear on top and it looks like embossing powder. The other thing is it's going to resist ink. So if I want to stamp this wheel, I don't have to worry about the black getting onto this part. Although I am worried about that. So I think I'm going to make a little mask anyway, just to be 100% safe. All right, so now I'm going to stick this in here and I'm going to do the tire. Okay, so this is moving around just a little bit. I might put my magnet there just to hold it down because it is a tiny bit warped, which will be fine because once we get all the foam squares on the back to pop it up, it'll look fine. Now I'm going to use black ink for the tire, and let me show you how I'm going to just mask that off. You don't have to like reinvent the wheel, the wheel per se. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to, let's see, how do I want to do this? I think I'm going to do it on a piece of Masking Magic. That's going to be even easier. Let me find a Masking Magic strip. Here are the 1/2-inch Masking Magic strips, and I'm just going to take one of these. These are great, not just for, you know, the artsy kind of stuff that I do, but for actual masking. So I'm just going to tape it down right there, and then I'm going to put a tiny little bit of ink, a little bit of teal ink, right here, and I'm just going to stamp it onto the Masking Magic. It doesn't have to look perfect. So I'm creating my mask now just by taking a pair of scissors, and I'm going to cut right along that line that I just stamped. This way the tire will not stamp there. So I can put that right there now, and that will protect the tire from going up onto that area. Does that make sense? And if you're worried like, oh, it might go up just a little bit higher, then just rip off another little piece of Masking Magic and stick it up there, and then nothing's going to happen. Okay, so now we're going to go with the black ink, and we're going to stamp this. There we go. Get that back in place. I could leave it like that because it looks kind of rough like a tire, but this is the first time I'm using my set because we just introduced this set last night. So my stamps are a little sticky and probably need to be prepped a little bit better, but that's okay. Looks good. Okay, so now I can peel this off, and there we go. We've got the tire peeking out, and you can save this mask. What I like to do with these masks that I make is I'll just tape them right onto the back of my stamp set. So then I don't have to make it every time I want to do the scooter. I can just pull that mask off. It's going to dry, and there won't be any problem using different colors with it. So just save those masks when you make them. All right, now we're going to flip this around. Let me clean this off. We're going to flip this around, this little template. This is so cute. Love that little shine to it. I mean, a red scooter should be shiny, right? And we're going to place the front wheel into that little spot. And then we can flip around our scooter. Tape it down. And now I'm going to stamp this wheel. Now this wheel does not go all the way up, so we don't have to worry about any masking. Looking good. I know I'm throwing a lot of techniques and things at you here, but remember, this is going to live on the channel, this video. So you can come back to the SCT Magazine channel anytime you want and watch this again. Like if you're sitting in your craft room and you're like, oh, I wish I could remember. Don't worry. It's going to be here. All right. So there we go. We've got our cute little scooter ready to go. Okay. Now I'm going to put this aside. And we are going to make a fun little background to position our scooter on. So I'm going to put this aside. And remember, you can leave this all set up and you can keep popping in these pieces over and over again and make more and more, do them in different colors. Once you're done, though, you can keep these templates to reposition, but you are going to have to set up your templates again because you're not going to be able to put your stamps in exactly the same spot. I mean, maybe you can, maybe you're that good. I don't bother. I just stamp them again and reposition them when I want to start over. So I'm not that good. I'm better than horrible, but I'm not that good. So I'm going to take these stamps off of here for now and put my MISTI away because we're going to need it again for the greeting. Because after I go through all the trouble of making a card like this, there's no way I'm going to freehand a greeting. Now we're going to need to get a piece of cardstock to put our backgrounds together. So I have two stencils here. One of the stencils is called Sea, Sun, and Sky. And I'm going to be using the clouds to make a cloudy sky. And then I'm going to use the bricks to make a wall that this scooter will be kind of leaning up against. And, you know, there are other cute things here that I could stamp in the center. I could put this flower in the center of the wheel. I think that might be really cute. Maybe we'll decide to do that at the end. So I'm glad I saved this because we'll take a look at it and see how it looks. Might need a little jazzing up. So now I'm going to get a piece of white cardstock and I'm going to trim it down to first 5.5 because I always like to have a half sheet. And then I'm going to trim it down to 3 3/4 by 5. I think I'm going to ultimately cut it down a little bit smaller than that, but we'll see. This might be the perfect size. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a spot to create a distance between the top, the sky, and the brick wall. So I am going to just put a little tape back here and tape this down so it doesn't move. And then I'm going to try to see where I want my scooter. Now, do I want my scooter up here so that I can put a greeting? It's good to kind of think about this stuff before you make your decisions. I think this could be a really cute encouragement card that could say sunny days ahead. But we could also do the you are really great. That's really cute too. Cruising by to say hi. Well, whatever we decide to do, probably going to do it down here at the bottom. So I want to leave a little bit of room here for that. And I want my brick wall to come up to probably around where the seat is. So I'm going to get another piece of Masking Magic here. This is a Masking Magic strip. If you don't have Masking Magic, you can also use Post-it notes for this, or you can just use a piece of cardstock and tape it down. Masking Magic I like because it sticks everywhere, so no ink seeps down. But again, you know, before there was Masking Magic, we did it the old-fashioned way. So I'm going to do mine right there, right about here. I think will be good. And that just kind of creates my horizon. Is that straight? I'll ask you, Tom, does that look straight? I always ask Tom if it looks straight, and he always says that's not a good idea.
Not a good idea.
I don't know.
I always say it looks straight to me, but
you never know, right?
yeah, I mean,
I think it looks pretty straight here. I mean, it's better than horrible. I got to keep remembering. It's better than horrible. Now, I do want to block this off here, so I will use some Post-it notes, but a little piece of copy paper and just taping it on the sides would work as well. I just happen to have a lot of Post-it notes. So now I'm going to create my sky using this design right here. This is the cloud part of the Sea, Sun, and Sky stencil. And I am going to use some sea glass ink for this. Let me find a turquoise brush. I think this is one. I'm going to make sure there's not a lot of dark color on there. I use one brush for every color family, so I have about 12 brushes that I go to. 10 really, but I have 2 special ones for peach and for gray. All right, so I just want to clean this off because I think I used Tranquil Teal on here last, or Turquoise Sea, and Sea Glass is much lighter. So all you have to do is you don't have to wash the brushes. You just have to rub the color off. You can wash them if you want, but one tip, if you do wash them, use a low sudsing soap, something like Johnson's baby shampoo. And then when you're drying them, dry them face down so that the water pools away from the head of the brush. There's this casing, brush casing is glued into this head. So you don't want water pooling on the glue to soften it, or the head of the brush could fall out. I don't ever wash mine. I just have one for my reds, one for my oranges, one for my yellows, and it works fine. Okay, so I'm doing a little bit of sea glass here, and I am going to just lightly along the edge of this stencil just create some clouds. Can you see that, or is that too bright, Tom?
I can see.
You can see it? Okay. So we've got a few more clouds over here. You can see I'm just turning the stencil as I go, creating nice puffy clouds. Now, if you want your clouds to look a little less patterned, you can always flip the stencil over. Yeah, there's a little ink on there, but that's not really going to hurt anything. We'll just do this last row coming along the bottom like that. And then I'm going to take a little more sea glass and go right along the edge here, just to help define that line between the wall and the clouds. And then I'm also going to bring in some color up here. Okay, so now I have my clouds. Now it's time to do our brick wall. So we're going to kind of reverse these pieces. Okay. So I have that nice little line there. It's pretty faint, but at least it'll tell me where my brick wall should start. So we're going to block that off now. And then we're going to block this off so we don't get any bricks up in that area. So the color I'm going to use is called Faded Brick. It's a great color for this technique. And then I'm going to create some bricks here. Just like here. I'm going to tape this down just to be safe. With a little pixie tape. It's great to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to move that up just a little bit. I'm not going to ask Tom if it's straight. What I'm going to do, what I'm going to do this time is I'm just going to look here and make sure that this line looks straight. And that looks pretty straight to me. So I'm going with that. Because I'm putting way too much pressure on Tom to try to make sure that I'm stamping straight. And sorry, Tom. Okay, so I'm going to get my red blending brush, and I don't know what is on there. That's not red. That's why. That's orange. Let's try red. I'm going to just rub that red off there. And now we're going to go in with a little faded brick. And I'm going to try to use a fairly light hand. So I'll start here in the middle and just use a fairly light hand. My goal here isn't to like create like a solid looking brick. I just want it to be in the background a little bit. Okay, a little more. Now I'm going to add a second color in here. I think I'm going to add a little bit of craft into the background. Let me find my craft ink. Here's some craft. Just to make it look a little dirty, you know, a little bit kind of more outdoorsy. Get a little of that in here. It doesn't have to be everywhere. Just a little bit here and there. Because bricks, they're not perfect. Just, you know, kind of makes it look a little bit more like weathered. Okay. We could also add a little gray. Let's add a tiny bit of gray. Oh, no, I'm not going to add gray. I did gray once before with brick and it didn't work out. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And now I'm going to go over it just with a little bit of that craft, just to soften it up a little bit so that my, what's the stuff in between called, Tom? The mortar? Brick and mortar?
I think that's correct.
Yeah, just so that the mortar is kind of softer. So that's what, with whatever craft was left on there. Now I want to look at this and I want to cut this out, I think, with Master Layouts 2. This is one of our die sets called Master Layouts 2. And I want to make sure that it's going to look good if I cut it out. Now you see over here where there's just too much white. I'm going to finish that off by lining the bricks up right here. Let's get it so that the mortar is about the same thickness. I just don't want too much white space there. So I'm going to do the same thing that I just did with the other bricks. Whatever's left on this faded brick brush, I'm just going to go in and add a couple bricks. Muddy it up a little up here, maybe down there. And then, there we go. I'm going to finish that with a little bit of craft. So now when I cut that out, at least the bricks are continuous. I'm going to make that one a little darker. I don't like how light that one is. Where's my faded brick? I know it was here a second ago. Oh, here it is. Do you guys lose stuff while it's in your hand? I do that all the time. I think that'll be a little better. There we go. Okay. Now let's take this apart and see if it looks like a brick wall and a sky. I think it should, but you never know. Sometimes brick walls, yes, that looks pretty good, right? Now, I know it doesn't look finished over here, but again, we're going to be cutting it out with this die, and I just needed to make sure I had enough to cut out. So let me just push everything out of the way. Get the die cutting machine. That's the way I stamp. It's the way I make cards. I keep pushing things out of the way until I'm actually sitting on the floor with my die cutting machine trying to cut things out. Okay. So now I have a little tape on here on the back, and you see how I've got tape on my die cutting machine because this always gets stuck when I cut. One thing that you can do is take something like your embossing magic pad or anything that you use before you emboss and just pat on that, and it takes the sticky away. So that's just a helpful way to get something to not stick on the back. Now I'm going to position this well because, again, this has to be straight. So I'm going to tape it down. I'm using Thermoweb's Pixie tape. I love their Pixie tape. I think it's great for, especially for the die cutting techniques. It holds everything down. It's sticky enough, but it's not too sticky. And I do just tape on the die itself and then off onto the, let's see, I moved the cardstock just a little bit. I didn't want to do that. So let's make sure it's straight. It looks pretty good. There we go. Okay. So that's going to help this cut straight. Yeah, you can see that I did not do my trick here. Okay. Now what I like about that is it creates those cute little stitched lines. You can see that. The stitched lines are just a little add-on. It just steps it up a little bit. It's not necessary. So if you don't have a die like this, you can still make beautiful cards without it. But the stitched edge just steps it up. And look at that. I feel like that could be used for something. If I was a good scrapbooker, I would find a way to frame a picture with that. I know I would. I'm not a good scrapbooker, but I should learn because I have so many photographs, and I know a lot of you are scrapbookers out there. I really should get my butt in gear. Almost said a naughty word. All right, so now I'm going to get some black cardstock, and I did not almost say a naughty word. Who said that? Did I say that? So I'm going to cut this panel with black. And one little trick for these big dies, if you cut like this, like I just did on the last one, it does take a little bit more arm power. But if you just turn it ever so slightly and let the one corner go in first, it'll cut a lot like butter. So if you've been struggling with these big dies, just try sending one corner in first. Yeah, maybe I'll try a scrapbook page and I'll share it. I'll share it in one of SCT's groups though first. See if I get the stamp of approval, a scrap of approval. All right, so now this panel and this panel are going to layer together to create that shadow layer that I love so much. I can't make a card without it, and you guys know that already. And let's see what else we can do with this card. I think we're going to make it a little bit fancier because we've got a lot of other really cute stamps here. And we've got dies for them. So maybe we should do like a balloon coming off the back. Or maybe, I'm not sure yet what we're going to do. I know that this is going to look very cute on here, just up against the wall. We could stamp the greeting up here too in the sky. And we could have this down a little bit. Let's do a balloon coming off of the back of the scooter. So let's stamp a balloon. Get my Misty. And we'll make it like a birthday card. So I'm going to put the balloon here. And, ooh, should we make the balloon red like the last thing? Let's do that. We'll make the balloon red. Let's make a red one. Maybe we could do 3 balloons. And they have to be shiny, so I'm going to have to emboss them. You know that, right? Oh, that's so cute. So I'm going to emboss this one first. I don't have to emboss them all at the same time, though. So, well, I can emboss them all at the same time. I'm going to use 3 different little pieces of cardstock here. And don't worry, I won't waste the rest of the cardstock. But I'm using the embossing powder again on here. Give it 2 layers. And then we'll get the embossing powder on here. So what other color should we use? Should we use turquoise? Because that's going to match the sky a little bit. I think that might be a good color. So I'll put this one aside. We've got the embossing powder on there. We can leave it on there. It doesn't have to be embossed instantly. What do you guys think? Like turquoise and maybe a green? Put a little green in there to bring in another color and make it feel more outdoorsy? What do you think? All right. So we'll do turquoise. Definitely do a turquoise one. I'll do turquoise C, which is a little lighter than tranquil teal, darker than sea glass. Oh, pink. Ah, pink would be cute too. I might have to go with tranquil teal on this. We'll see. No, I think this is good. Yellow. Yellow would be cute too. Pink, green, yellow, pink. All right, we got 2 votes for pink. You think pink with red and blue? All right, we'll do this one. The clear ink now. Okay, I have more votes for pink than anything else. So I feel like pink it is. And I know Catherine likes pink. We know Catherine likes pink, right? Okay. So we'll add a little bit. We have to make the balloon shiny. There's no way we're getting away with not having shiny balloons. That's going to be cute. All right, a pink one. Going with pink. Oh, there's a lot of yellows, though. Oh, no. Okay. All right, Catherine loves pink. We're going to do a pink one for Catherine. Have to do a pink one for Catherine. But I agree with all of you. I like all your color suggestions. Let me find the right pink for Catherine. This is close to Catherine's pink. This is passionate pink. Probably should have cleaned that, but that's all right. That's a mix of embossing ink and dye ink. So let's try that again. And I just want to apologize for not being here at the right time today, guys. I don't understand time zones, apparently. So thank you all for those of you who read the first banner. We appreciate you being patient and making sure that you came anyway. Okay, so that's a good pink. And then cleaning that stamp. And we'll do some embossing and watermark ink on that. A black doggy driver. Ooh, that would be really cute. Yeah, that dog in that is really cute. Maybe we'll do a black doggy driver. I like that idea. Okay. This is going to come together really fast once we've got all these pieces done. Okay, and somebody said a black doggy driver, and I'm going for it. A black doggy driving the scooter. I better not lose these pieces. I'm going to put them over there. Okay. I'm making a mess of this stamp set here already. So let me get these back before I start losing pieces. I will need this for the strings. And I need a doggy. There's the doggy. All right, we're going to do the doggy in black. He's going to be standing up on the scooter. And let's just go for it. We'll emboss him too. We might as well have the doggy shiny to match everything else. He doesn't have to be, but I think it'd be kind of fun. Let me clean this stamp. Again, there's always manufacturing residue on your stamps when you get them from they're brand new. You do have to clean them a little bit and rub on them a little bit to get them to stamp more smoothly. See, that little bit of rub just kind of got rid of anything that was on there. Okay. And then we'll emboss him too, because he might look too faded out if we don't. Embossing and watermarking. Don't worry if there's pink on there. That's not a problem. Pay no mind. And there we go. Now we'll just emboss these 3 designs and we'll cut them out. And we'll assemble our card and add our greeting. All right. I will not forget the doggy and the Misty. I'll get him later. First, we've got to do the embossing. And these are easy to hold because they are on separate pieces of paper. But if they were tight, I would use that clothespin again, because the clothespin is wooden and it doesn't conduct heat. So you do want to be a little bit careful not to use something metal. There we go. 1. 2. 3. 4. And you know what else is neat about using a technique like this to create embossed images? You see how this one is a little bit faded on one side? You can do color blends and then emboss over them. That is something you cannot do with embossing powder. You wouldn't be able to add details. You could do this with layering stamps too. So there's so many ways to make use of this technique and create looks that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. All right, here we go. I'm going to cut these guys out. Where's the die set? Here we go. All right, one at a time. I am going to tape them down. So if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. I think we're explaining pretty well here what we're doing, but if there's any other kinds of questions that you have, you know, you want to ask Tom what his favorite beverage is or something. I don't know if he'll answer. He might. Okay, there's one balloon. Yes, I won't forget the string on my desk. Thank you. I just moved it. I appreciate you looking out for me because you know me. I lose things. I lose them while they're in my hand. All right, balloon 2. And one more. I don't know how long this was supposed to be. It was probably in the email that I got and read incorrectly. Megan is so good at emailing all the instructions and everything, and Gina K is so bad at reading instructions that I'm just very lucky that everybody's so flexible with me.
I don't think I have a favorite beverage.
You don't have a favorite beverage?
I don't know.
So you know what the favorite Wisconsin adult beverage is, right? We're known for it up here. Do you know what that is?
Are you talking about brandy?
The old fashioned.
Oh, you mean, yeah, mixed beverage.
Yeah.
The brandy old fashioned, some of them are smoked.
Smoked brandy old fashioned. I know. Sometimes they're like, there's literally smoke coming out of them when they serve them to you. Fruit punch. All right, we got 3 balloons, and now we're going to cut out the doggy. Here's the doggy die. That is really cute that she put a dog. And what's neat about this dog is the position that the dog is in. It can be driving the scooter or the bike, but it can also be running alongside of the scooter and the bike, which I love that too. Like it's chasing. So cute. Oh, good. Thank you. Catherine or Megan, I don't know who's running the show today, but they said I can stay as long as I'd like. I appreciate that. It's like 6 o'clock at night, and I'm like, and another thing we're going to do. Get the hook. Sometimes I get carried away, but I don't mean to. Okay, so we have our scooter, and then we have our balloons, which we can position kind of coming off the back of the scooter like this, and we'll do the strings, which is right here. We'll just stamp those right on. And then the little doggy driving will be so cute. Oh my gosh, that's adorable. Okay, so maybe we'll just say, I feel like it should be a birthday card. Let me look. Maybe I'll use something from the kit too, because I've got this kit here, and have a sunny birthday would be cute, although there isn't a lot of sun here. There's a lot of clouds. Why didn't I have a cloudy birthday? I don't know what I was thinking. Do thankful for you. I don't know what I want to do. Maybe I will do the birthday thing. Let's see. Cruising by. Have a. Oh, goodness. I don't know what I want to say. Let me look. I want to look at some of the other new sets that we just released and see if there is another greeting here to use. All right. Let's put the card together first, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do. Because I actually would like to use this birthday, but I'm not sure what to mix it with. Have a really great birthday. I probably should do the greeting first then, because it's a lot of words, and I don't want to not have enough room for the words. So let's try to build this greeting. Have a really great birthday. That's what we're going to say. All right. I'm going to put a little tape on the back of this again, because I do not want this to move with all of this stamping. So we're going to do really great first, because that's the biggest word, the biggest phrase here. So we'll do really great. And then birthday will go underneath here. And move it up just a hair. Okay, wish me luck. I always get nervous for the greetings. So we'll start with Wheelie Great. Are you guys as undecisive as I am when it comes to like, well, what greeting are we going to use? I don't know. I'm going to stamp this a couple times. Oh, that's so cute. Here, I'll do it that way so you guys don't worry that it's super crooked. One more. There we go. Okay, so that's looking good. And then we need to have a, this could go right up here. Have a, now I've shown this trick a million times before, but if you're a little bit worried that something isn't going to be straight, pick it up with the door of your MISTI. I'm going to clean this stamp. And then lay the index sheet from your stamp set on top and stamp it first to make sure it looks straight and you like the position of it. It's not going to be dark black, but you're still going to be able to see it enough. Does that look good? See, I feel like that is a little bit crooked. It's just a little bit high on one side. So I'm going to just move it a hair. Hair down. And we'll try it again. And we'll look. See, this is the video of a million tips today. That looks better to me. Does that look straight to you, Tom? Never mind. We're going for it.
Beautiful.
Okay, there we go. I love that some of these fonts are very light and some of them are bold, and I like the mix of the different fonts. Have a really great. Also, don't forget to clean your sheet before you use it again, because you might use the wrong side and then you're gonna, you know, contaminate your paper. Birthday. Have a really great birthday. I think that's going to look cute. But I will check it again because I am not going to mess up this card, especially because I'm going to give it away to one of you today. One of you is going to take home this card. And the way that you get to take it home is you just have to leave a comment anytime during the live. So if you've already left one, you're already entered to win. That looks good. All right. If you haven't left a comment, go ahead and leave one. It is kind of fun to build the greeting exactly the way you want it. And what's nice about having these greetings kind of separate is you could have made that all one line going across if you wanted a big long greeting, or you can kind of scrunch it up like I did here to make room for the scooter. Now the scooter is going to have to go over here, but that's okay. And we'll do the balloons here. I'm going to have the balloons going off the card because there's a card base. We'll do one up here too. And then we'll do the strings. Okay, so now let's assemble the rest of this card, and we'll do the strings last. Well, not really last, but we'll get this card assembled first so we see where we're going to put our balloons. This is so fun. All right, so for the card base, I think I'm going to use turquoise to play off the turquoise. Actually, no. I'm changing my mind again. I'm going to use a white card base for this. I think white is going to be the perfect card base since there is so much color on that panel. So I've got an A2 card base here. It measures 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches. Then I scored it at the 4.25 inch mark and folded it in half. And I did not fold it in half very well. So I'm going to fold it in half again. Maybe I didn't cut it well. Maybe that's what it is. Probably didn't cut it well. But this is going to somebody, so it's got to be better than horrible. There we go. That's better than horrible. Now let's get this on here. See how nice that big white border is around the outside? I love that look. And now we'll get this. We could even go down a little further right there. And then we'll place him on here, holding on for dear life. And now we can bring these balloons outside of the card. You see what I'm talking about here? They don't have to be. In fact, we can do that. And then you won't see that string. This way, this string is going to be plenty long enough. Okay, so let's do the strings. I'm gonna wing it, string it. What's neat about this stamp too is if you want, you could curve it. Like if you needed it to be more curved to fit, you can straighten it out a little bit. So I'm going to need one to kind of go up to that blue. Right there. Okay, so that's going to go there like that. Then we need another string. Kind of here. Kind of cover that up a little bit. No, I don't even really need to. All right, dog, you got to get out of the way. I'm going to put one there. And then we'll do one over here like that. Just making sure you don't go outside of the actual card itself or it won't fit in an envelope. I'm going to turn this over and I'll put that one right there. Okay. So that'll go there like that. Now, hopefully I didn't mess this up. Nope. So they're kind of hanging on to the scooter. And now we can start popping some things up. So I feel like the balloons need to be down. They need to be on the card because the strings are on the card. So we'll get this one here like that. This red one here. And then Catherine's balloon right there. There we go. Now let's pop this guy up. We'll use some foam squares for that. And we can decide if we like it popped up. The foam squares I'm using are the Gina K Designs foam squares. They're pretty shallow. And I really wanted them that way because I want to give it a little bit of lift, but I don't want it to be really thick. If you want it to be thick, you can just double them up. So we'll put one here. And we'll put a small one here. And they come in two sizes, which is really nice. They come in this larger 1/2 inch size and then the 1/4 inch size, which is great for smaller things. And then when you have really tiny things, you can just cut those 1/4 inch ones right in half and they're They're perfect. Okay, so this is going right here, like that. And then we're going to pop the doggy up. We've got to. We'll just put foam squares in the center of his body here. And then we'll attach him to the scooter. Now I'll put a couple more. He'll be too flimsy if we don't have more foam squares on him. Isn't this set fun? There's so many ways to use it too. And the bike, Tom, you know, I thought about you today because I know that the bike image is your favorite in this set.
Yes, love the bikes.
I know, it's so cute.
Especially with the pumpkin wheels.
Oh yeah, Melanie did pumpkin wheels on her bike. Okay, so I didn't stamp anything in here, but I probably could stamp like a little cute thing like this in there. Maybe I'll do that and take a chance and screw it all up. Let's see. I'm thinking like a gray would be better for this, just so that it's not too, and there is a foam square right there and right there. I think I can do it. So let's just get like soft stone, which is a super soft color. I know this is crazy to even think about doing this right now, but I'm doing it. I feel like it needs a little something. Let's just look at it together. You know, something like that in the center. Let's see how, I know a trick. We can look at it. I have a tiny piece of vellum here. And just trim it down a little bit so we can look through and see if we like it. I don't always trust myself. So I just have this tiny piece of vellum. And I'm going to go one darker. I'm going to go with Stormy Sky, a little bit darker gray. I'm going to stamp that right on this vellum. And then we can just look at it and see, do we like having a little thing in the wheel there? Let me zoom in so you guys can see closer. Do we like that? A little spokey thing, just something to fill in the wheel. There are other things we could fill in the wheel with. We could fill it in with this flower. I have more vellum. And we could do it in black too, which, you know, that's why I kind of like to try things first to see. Let's try it in black.
You could bling it too.
Oh, I could bling it, yeah. What do you think of that, though?
Do you need the mask, the other one?
I might need to, yeah. I will need to. I have the mask somewhere. I like it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to clean the stamp real well because I only get one shot. Well, I really don't. I could use the Misty, but I think we should just be daring and do it. I will test it again on this piece. I could bling the center of this then. I'm stamping it just to get it really inky. I'm going to use the Misty. After all that, I'm going to use the Misty. I want to stamp it more than once. Okay. We're using the Misty and we're doing it. I made a boo-boo here, right there. I'm going to mono sand erase that out. I'm going to let it dry first, and then I'm going to mono sand erase it right out. You won't even know it's there. This goes up in the corner. It's all right. It happens. It's not the end of the world. There are worse things, right? Tom, you're supposed to say right.
Well, you are winging it today.
I know, but I really want to do this. And I have to just look at it and make sure it looks like it's going to be cute. I shouldn't have moved that. All right, I'm going with the block. I'm doing it. I'm not doing the Misty. I feel like I can see it better on the block for some reason. All right, wish me luck. That will sand off. Don't worry, guys. It'll sand off. And we're going to put a little gem in the center. Find my little mask that I tore off. Here it is. There we go. Okay, that is cute. That is very cute. I love it. Now, what should we put in the center? Silver. We got to put silver because that would feel very much like a motorcycle.
Or
Right
red.
there. Or red. I don't have red. But, you know, I mean, motorcycles, mopeds have a little hardware, right?
Chrome.
Chrome, right. Okay, so we're going to put the silver in there. I'm going to use a little Connect glue. Love it. There we go. Fortunately, the glue dries clear, even if you get it outside of where you want it. Oh my gosh, I am loving this card. Maybe I don't want to give it away. No, I do. I want to give it away. Oh, and you know what? I don't know why I'm like all freaked out about the Mono Sand eraser. I can just put it on a new card base. That's not a big deal. I've got another card base. So I'll just swap it out. That'll be easy to take apart. Just have to take this apart. And I'll just pop it onto a new card base. See that? No big deal. But I will cut this card base a little bit better. All right, Tom, so we are going to give this card away to one of the lovely people that came to support our live today. There we go. All fixed. Ta-da!
Wow.
Yes. Yes. I don't know what I was worried about, but you know, whatever. Okay. So I don't want to back out too much because I actually should take a picture of what this looks like and share it with Catherine to share with you guys, or Megan to share with you guys, because my space is such a disaster right now. I have everything. I have things everywhere. I mean, everything is just a mess. But that's how you know you had fun, when you have a mess. All right, Tom, let's give this card away, okay?
All right.
All
Drum
right.
roll, please.
Yeah.
All right. This crazy card, have a really great birthday, goes to Christine Turner.
Yay, Christine.
Turner.
Congratulations. Christine, all you have to do is send your name and address to info@GinaKDesigns.com and I will mail this card out to you. Yes. And I'll take a picture of this and I'll send it over to Megan if she wants to post it over on the page. I don't know if you do that or not, Megan, but I'll send you the picture anyway. But I'm also going to post this in our group because I think Melanie will like this. And I also think it's a great technique. I mean, you see that again, like all of that shine, none of that is colored embossing powder. So I think that's a good technique and something that a lot of people might want to try. All right, everybody. Well, this was so much fun. One more time, I wanted to remind you all that we have a $100 gift card. And the way to enter to win that gift card is to head over to the Scrapbook and Cards Today website and click on their blog and go to the blog post about Gina K Designs. And you can follow the instructions on how to enter to win this $100 shopping spree over at Gina K Designs. So head over there and check it out. You'll also be able to see a picture of our new kit and a few kit card projects that we have. Also visit us in our Facebook group. Tom, you want to share the Facebook group name? It's called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. You can join us over there and see all kinds of inspiration featuring our new release. And if you like what you see, you can visit us at ginakdesigns.com, click on the shop tab, click on what's new, and you can find everything that's brand new this month. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine for inviting me to be part of the partner celebration. This was so much fun. I'll be back on my YouTube channel tomorrow with a premiere video, and then on Friday with a Foil It Friday card. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.